Good morning. Welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am PJ, enjoying my addiction to coffee. First cup. Couple news stories. Overarching theme today. First one I talked about, not news stories, maybe. Yesterday I talked about, at least on one of the videos, I have a brother who was told by unrelated people in the last week they're worried about the shortages, food scarcity, no baby formula, whatever, and if it gets really bad, they're going to kill people and take their food. So there was that. I did talk about that in the video. I read a couple articles today. That woman, head jailer or something, I don't think she was the warden, but something, let that 6'8" dude out and they escaped together and they were on the run. They were caught. They were stupid. That's probably another analysis for another time. But she shot herself in the head, evidently, upon capture, and he was captured. That's the story. She's dead. He's back in jail. And I was thinking, I guess the sheriff was ticked off because I used to get, they're called law enforcement sensitive reports on things. And it's like if you have a law enforcement department and you discover something, a bit of intel, if you will, you want to share it with other law enforcement departments so that they can be on the lookout, they can be prepared, but you don't want the whole world to know that you need to know, right? So law enforcement sensitive. And the sheriff's department had determined what type of car they were in, and they put that out to a broad range of law enforcement agencies under LES, law enforcement sensitive, and I guess one of the police departments briefed it. Well, that's stupid. It's just stupid because now you've got all the law enforcement out there looking for a particular car, photos and everything, and then they announce it on the news that they're looking for this car. What do you think the people did who were driving that car? They ditch it and they get a new car. Now you don't know what car they're in. See? And I was thinking, what if you were the one driving the car, the vehicle that they decided they wanted? Give me your car! Maybe they decide they're going to take you out. Maybe they decide they're going to take you hostage. Maybe they decide they're going to shoot you and take your little girl hostage because she's easier to manage. See what I'm saying? They put out immediately when this couple escaped, because, she was a law enforcement officer of a sort, and he was a murderer. They are suspected to be armed and dangerous. Well, yeah. So that's a story. Then I read a story today where an Israeli man was living with his family in a settlement. Now, these settlements are basically the Israelis are reclaiming their land in what were Palestinian territories, and they build like compounds on them and they put fences around them. And so it's kind of like on the frontier, the settlers are living there and the Indians, Palestinians aren't real happy about that. And so they're sitting there drinking tea on the porch, nice idyllic family thing, it's getting cooler. And they see a dude climbing the security fence. And so the Israeli husband yells, "Hey, what are you doing?" And the guy mumbles something at him. He's like, "Oh, this is a terrorist attack." Because in that part of the world, it's not like Palestinians climb these fences to rob people, to break into houses and steal stuff. They come in to kill people. So he tells his family, get inside, and lock all the doors. And then he grabs his M16, not AR-15, M16, and he comes out to look for the guy, and the guy pops up in the bushes at his balcony, patio, whatever, with a knife. And so he zaps him and kills him. Good dad, except I'll come back to something he did wrong on that. And then what was the other story? There was one more. I don't remember. Oh, there we go. Bang, it's back. Violence over this Roe v. Wade, perhaps kicking it back to the states, and I guess there was demonstrations at different Supreme Court justices' houses. Those people aren't in jail, held without bail in isolation. And there's talk of violence, and there's probably going to be some violence. There's probably going to be some violence associated with that. I heard that they were going to protest, and in fact did in New York City, some Christian church on Mother's Day on Sunday. Everything's getting amped back up, not just here in America, but also, overseas. Things are still going on in Ukraine and around the periphery of that. Hatred is in the land. The love of many is waxing cold. Yeah. So I'm going to call this video Armed and Dangerous. The thing that the Israeli did wrong, living in a settlement, was having to go back into his house to get a firearm. He could have easily have, after he went in and shuttled his little family into the house, turned around and got stabbed when he came out. Could have happened. He should have had a firearm on him, with him, at hand's reach. I told my friend, and I said in the video when he had two coworkers, because he lives in a bit of a city, not what most of you would call a city, but what we call out here in the Ozarks a city. And I told him, make sure you and your wife are armed all the time. And that is my point for you today. You need to be armed and dangerous all the time. See, don't let anybody steal that phrase. It's like a bad phrase, right? If somebody says, he's armed and dangerous. Well, hell yeah, I'm armed and dangerous. And you should be too. So what does that mean? Armed. You have a weapon. You have anything that lengthens or strengthens your sphere of defense or offense. And specifically, these are my weapons. Specifically, we're talking about something other than your body, right? So you should be armed. And then dangerous means just having a handgun does not make you dangerous in and of itself. If you don't know how to use it, if you don't know how to properly employ tactics, just having a knife doesn't make you armed and dangerous. You might end up being dangerous to yourself. Got a knife on here somewhere. See? Can't even get it when you need it, PJ. And this, Norden Knives. Norden Knives Pathfinder. Look how small that is. This, just because you have it, doesn't make you dangerous. It makes you armed in the eyes of the law. But you got to know how to use it. And as long as we're sticking with the theme, you got to be able to access it. You're not very dangerous if you're like, hold on, let me find where my knife is on my belt. Hold on, wait. Right? Most of you are Americans. Most of you have the legal right to carry a firearm, specifically a handgun or pistol, on and about your person. If you have that legal right where you live in America, you should be exercising that right. You should be carrying a handgun all the time, 24/7. When you are sitting on your toilet, you should have a handgun at hand. Whether it's the one that's in your holster in your trousers that you just dropped to the ground, or your shoulder holster, or you got a bathroom gun, whatever. You should always have a firearm at hand. Yes, I was just having this conversation yesterday with somebody. It's like, I have contingency plans to go live in other countries. I have weighed the options as this country falls apart. moving to another country. But you know what I hate? I hate the idea that I will not be able to be legally armed. Most countries in the world, you can get a firearm. That's not a thing, but that just creates another whole set of problems, right? And God forbid you have to use it. That's why you got it in the first place. And now you actually have to use it, and you have an illegal firearm, and you're the gringo. Not good. And I don't care if you're white, black, or Asian. If you are not from that country, you are what I call the gringo. But you need to be armed. You need to have access to weapons at all times. Oh! Whoo! Pull! Sorry, just playing. You have a God-given right, no matter where you live, to defend yourself. And if you have the God-given right to defend yourself, then that means you have the right to arm yourself with whatever you need to properly defend yourself. Doesn't matter what the law says. The law says you have to get on this boxcar, go here and take a nice shower. It doesn't matter what the law says. You have a right. You need to exercise your right. So, Americans, if you don't have a handgun at a minimum at reach that you can touch right now, you're wrong. But I live in a place where I can't. Then you need to move. You should have already done that. Hello. I work at a place where I can. Yes, you can. They make really little guns. They make little 380s, Ruger LCP2. It's small. You could stick that thing inside a wallet and stick it in your back pocket. Oh yeah, you could. There are very, very few places where you cannot carry a handgun. I didn't say where you're not legally allowed to. I said where you cannot carry a handgun. And you should carry one. What's your life worth? Remember that phrase, better tried by 12 than carried by 6? Yeah. You should be able to protect yourself. Quite frankly, I wouldn't work in a place that didn't let me carry. Wouldn't work there. You don't get my abilities. You don't understand. No, you don't understand. Your life is worth more than your little feelings about things. And when the time comes that you need some way to protect yourself and you don't have it, nobody cares. Nobody's coming to help you. While they take you apart or take somebody you love apart or whatever. Nobody's coming. It's up to you. Exercise personal responsibility for your own self-defense. Armed. You live in England. I just can't move from England. I know. How far it's fallen. We have some Brits here. And, they sometimes step up and go, I have a firearm, I have this, I have that. You don't have it at hand, loaded, ready to go. I bet you don't. And if you do, you're certainly not going to say so, nor should you. But you can't even carry a knife in England. I mean, to me, that is weird. Like, I carry a knife everywhere. Whoop! They found it that time. You can't do that in England. How are you supposed to defend yourself? If you cannot, first of all, the laws have been going on, and same in Oz. I think, though, you can probably have a shotgun in your home, right? Not sure about that. Aussies, speak up. Can you have a loaded shotgun in your home? Can you use it for self-defense if somebody's coming in with a machete? Figure it out. A weapon is not just a handgun or a rifle, or a shotgun. A weapon is anything that lengthens or strengthens your sphere of offense or defense. Stand by. Let me walk over here. I'll just get these at random. Here, I'm coming back. Yes, I'm going to reinforce the plumbing in my house. PVC pipe. That's all it is. Just a piece of plastic, man. You can't do anything with this. This isn't a weapon. This is piece of PVC pipe. I'm armed with it. I'm also dangerous with it because I'm trained with it. Well, I was trained with rattan sticks, but this is just a piece of wood. I'm going to go replace a table leg on my nightstand. Taking it home to do that right now. Pow, 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 pow. Arm yourself and then get training so that you are dangerous, so that you are armed and dangerous. I honestly, for stuff like this, for clubs, this is called a simple club in SEER terminology. For a simple club, which this could be an umbrella, this could be a piece of rebar, this could be anything that is, about this long, a little bit shorter even, and hard. Could be a flashlight, could be whatever you're allowed to legally carry in your area. You start getting up around my age, my knees hurt, and you carry a cane. A very solid, sturdy, blackthorn walking cane or something. I don't know, use your imagination because you don't want to get arrested, right? But Filipino martial arts, FMA. Arnis, Kali. I know Kali is technically Indonesian, but it falls under FMA. What's the other name they use for it? Arnis, Kali, whatever. It's called FMA. Look it up in your area. Go take FMA. Seriously, if for a weapon, if you cannot carry a handgun, go take FMA and learn how to use simple things like this. Armed and dangerous. Skill set, mindset, tool set. Tool set is the weapon. Mindset is the determination that I'm going to use this weapon if I have to. Mindset is the determination that I'm going to seek training and constant improvement in the use of that weapon. And yeah, I'm back on the sticks. School set, mindset. Skill set? Oh, tool set. Skill set. That's training. You need to get training. You need to get training. Now, if we're going back to handguns, you need the same thing. You need the skill set, which means you need to go get training on your handgun. Most of you are not good enough with your handgun. I'm willing to bet 90% of Vikings out there are not what I would call, or the people that are at my level or better, good enough with a handgun. It's not to go out there and go, oh, look, the bullseye's this big and I hit it here. Woo! That's not what it's for. It's for fighting. It's a weapon. At a minimum, combat handgun 101 anywhere in the country, you should have taken. You should have taken at least one. And then you should be practicing with it enough to be able to do it. It's just like a stick. I can tell when someone holds a stick if they know how to use it or not. I could just tell by their posture and the way they hold it if they know what they're doing. And if they don't, no worries. Back on FMA, cool thing about FMA, you start out training with sticks about like this, made out of rattan. You start out with one stick, you go to two sticks, you go to a stick and a knife, and then, at least in my art when I did it, and then you go to empty hands. So whatever you learn to do with the stick, you learn to do with your hands. Shooting, there's all kinds of courses out there to learn how to shoot, so that you are not only armed, but you're also dangerous, so somebody doesn't just take your weapon away from you. Wrapping it up, you need to be armed and dangerous because we live in uncertain times. I don't care if you're a little grandma, most especially if you're a little grandma. You need to be armed and dangerous. Yes, dangerous. Some old biddy pulling out her little 38 special and going, "You better get away from me." That's not armed and dangerous. That's barely armed. Think about it, and I don't even want to see a comment on what you can't do. I don't care. Number one, most of you can do a lot more than you think you can. Open your mind, free your mind, and the rest will follow. Just because somebody says you can't doesn't mean you can't. That's it. Take steps to defend yourself. This world is going to get crazy. It's already getting bad. I saw some video the other day of a woman on the street, I think in New York, and she's a little woman, some big dude's trying to steal her leather jacket. And as I'm watching, I'm like, oh, shikeys, no. Little woman, big dude, skinny woman, solid dude. She's in a fighting thing for her jacket on the street. It's a leather jacket, let it go. Boom! 250-pound guy hooks a 120-pound woman. What do you think's going to happen? He hit her a couple times. And then he threw the jacket back at her. That was interesting. At least she got her jacket, right? Armed and dangerous. That needs to be you. Figure it out. Maybe. I'll see you out there.